The vast emptiness of space stretched before the research vessel horizon, its sleek metallic hull gleaming under distant starlight. Commander Jaipark stood at the bridge, his steady gaze fixed on the massive abandoned space station that slowly rotated against the cosmic backdrop. The station was unlike anything human explorers had encountered before. Its complex geometric structure suggested advanced engineering, with sections that seemed to shift and realign even as they washed. Massive damage marked its exterior. Puncture wounds from ancient battles, radiation scars, and complex metallic deformations that told stories of incredible violence. "Scan again," Jay instructed Yuna Kim, the chief engineer. Her fingers danced across holographic displays, multiple data streams cascading around her like digital waterfalls. "Structural integrity is fragile," she reported. "About 32% of the primary systems are still responsive. Something is keeping minimal power alive." The station measured roughly 2 kilometers in length, a giant among space relics. Its design suggested it was more than just a research platform. It seemed like a defensive installation, perhaps a monitoring outpost for something far more significant. Wanley, the communications specialist, interrupted the silence. "I'm detecting extremely low-frequency electromagnetic pulses. They're not random. There's a pattern." Jay raised an eyebrow. Patterns meant intelligence, even if that intelligence was long dormant. The horizon inched closer, its advanced sensors prodding every millimeter of the station's exterior. Specialized drones deployed from the ship's side, their cameras and sensors capturing intricate details that human eyes might miss. Sung Choi, the science officer, analyzed the initial data. "The materials are composites we've never seen before. Some sections seem to be self-repairing, with microscopic machinery still active after what could be centuries." Jay understood the risks. Abandoned alien installations were potential treasure troves of technology, or deadly traps. Humanity had learned this lesson through costly expeditions across multiple star systems. "Prepare the first exploration team," he commanded. "Full protective gear, no unnecessary risks." Eun Kwon, the medical officer, prepared radiation suits and specialized medical kits. Each suit was equipped with advanced scanning technology, life support systems, and emergency medical capabilities. The first team would consist of 4 specialists: Jay himself, Yuna, Sung, and a junior engineer named Dai Shin. They would use a specialized shuttle to approach and enter the station's primary airlock. As they prepared, the station seemed to pulse. Not a mechanical pulse, but something that felt almost alive. The shuttle detached from the horizon, maneuvering with precise computer-guided movements. Magnetic grappling systems engage, holding them steady against the station's damaged exterior. "Airlock sequence initiated," Yuna reported. Her hands moved with practiced efficiency, analyzing every signal, every potential risk. The airlock was massive, designed for something much larger than human-sized entities. Ancient warning symbols, or what seemed like warnings, were etched into its metallic surface. Some looked like mathematical equations, others like complex biological diagrams. Dai Shin's hand trembled slightly as he connected the first diagnostic probe. Centuries of dust and microscopic debris shifted with their approach. "Oxygen levels are low but stable," Sung announced. "Radiation within acceptable human tolerance ranges. Temperature is consistent at 18 degrees Celsius." The airlock groaned, a sound that was part mechanical, part something else entirely. It was almost like the station was awakening. Jay felt a strange sensation. Not fear, but anticipation. Humanity had discovered ancient technologies before, but this felt different. This felt like they were about to uncover something that could change everything they understood about the universe. "Team," he said quietly, "stay alert. We don't know what we're walking into." The airlock began to open, revealing darkness punctuated by occasional flickering lights. Something waited inside, a mystery, a potential threat, or perhaps the greatest discovery in human exploration history. Their first step would determine everything. The interior of the abandoned space station was unlike anything the human team had expected. Narrow corridors twisted in impossible geometric patterns, with surfaces that seemed to shift and change when viewed from different angles. Yuna Kim's engineering scanner worked overtime, mapping each section with meticulous precision. "These materials," she muttered, running her gloved hand along a wall that appeared to be breathing, expanding and contracting microscopically. "They're not just metal. There's something more." Dai Xin followed closely, his portable light casting long shadows across the abandoned passageways. Dust danced in invisible air currents, creating phantom-like movements that made even experienced explorers feel uneasy. The first major challenge came when they reached the central power core. What should have been a dead system showed faint energy signatures, pulses of light that suggested something was still alive deep within the station's complex machinery. "I've never seen anything like this," Sung Choi said, his scientific curiosity overriding any sense of caution. Multiple computer interfaces flickered around him, displaying fragments of data in an unknown language. Commander J. Park understood the risks. Every step could trigger an unknown defense mechanism or release something trapped for centuries. The station felt like a sleeping giant, ready to wake at any moment. Yuna began the delicate process of systems restoration. Her hands moved quickly across portable interfaces, connecting advanced human technology with the station's mysterious alien systems. Each connection was a careful dance of technological compatibility. "We're getting something," she called out. A holographic display erupted around her, showing complex energy patterns and system maps that looked more like biological networks than mechanical systems. Suddenly, a low hum began to fill the corridor. It wasn't mechanical. It felt almost organic. The walls seemed to pulse with a rhythm that suggested something more than simple machinery. Dai Xin's communication device crackled. Fragmented sounds emerged, not quite words, but something that suggested communication. "Did you hear that?" he asked, his voice trembling slightly. Commander Park approached the interface. "Focus on stable connections. We need to understand what this station is trying to tell us." Hours passed. The team worked meticulously, restoring power to small sections. Each restored system revealed more mysteries. Strange energy signatures pulsed through ancient conduits, hinting at technological secrets far beyond human understanding. A breakthrough came unexpectedly. One of the alien interfaces suddenly displayed a three-dimensional star map. But it wasn't just a map. It showed movement, complex interactions between stellar bodies that suggested some kind of advanced tracking system. "This isn't just a space station," Sung whispered. "This is a warning system, maybe even a defensive platform." The temperature in the corridor dropped suddenly. Equipment readings went wild, sensors detecting multiple impossible readings simultaneously. Something was responding to their presence. Yuna discovered the first major clue. A data cluster, partially encrypted, showed fragments of what appeared to be a massive conflict. Images flashed, massive ship designs, planetary destructions, complex technological warfare beyond human comprehension. "We're not just exploring an abandoned station," Jay realized. "We're uncovering a history that was meant to remain hidden." As night cycle approached on their ship, the team continued working. Each restored system brought new questions. The station seemed to be studying them as much as they were studying it. Dai Xin's hand touched an apparently dead interface. Instantly, it came to life, complex symbols dancing across its surface. He jumped back, startled. "It responded to human touch," he said, his voice a mixture of excitement and fear. Commander Park understood the significance. This wasn't just technology. This was something alive, something waiting. A message, a warning, perhaps even a test. The restoration had only just begun, and already they knew nothing would be the same after this discovery. The station's hidden archives began to reveal their secrets slowly, like ancient text emerging from deep shadows. Sung Choi worked tirelessly, his fingers moving across specialized decryption interfaces that hummed with complex algorithms. "These aren't just records," he muttered. "They're a complete historical archive of something massive." The first complete data cluster showed a galactic conflict that defied human understanding. Massive civilizations, not just human-like species, but truly alien configurations of life, had fought a war that spanned hundreds of star systems. Commander J. Park watched the holographic displays, his experienced eyes capturing every detail. The images were horrifying. Entire planetary systems reduced to cosmic dust. Technological weapons that could shatter molecular structures. Entire civilizations vanishing in moments. Yuna Kim discovered something even more disturbing. The station wasn't just a passive record keeper. It was a survivor. A deliberate repository of knowledge, designed to warn future civilizations about an impending threat. "Look at this," she called out, pulling up complex diagrams that showed massive interdimensional entities. They weren't simple creatures, but complex systems that could consume entire galactic regions. The threat was beyond traditional warfare. These entities could absorb technological and biological systems, converting entire populations into energy sources. They moved between dimensional spaces, hunting and consuming without traditional biological limitations. Dai Shin's hands trembled as he processed the translations. "They're not just predators," he said quietly. "They're a systemic threat to existence itself." The station's archives revealed a critical detail. The civilization that built this installation had discovered the threat but couldn't stop it completely. Instead, they created multiple monitoring stations across different star regions, hoping that someday a civilization would emerge capable of understanding and potentially combating the threat. Wanli, the communication specialist, worked on decoding communication protocols. Strange mathematical sequences emerged, not just simple numbers, but complex computational patterns that suggested advanced predictive technologies. "This is beyond our current understanding," he reported. "These calculations can predict potential invasion paths centuries in advance." Commander Park understood the magnitude of their discovery. This wasn't just an archaeological expedition. They were uncovering a potential salvation for not just humanity, but potentially multiple species across the galaxy. The station seemed to respond to their investigations. Certain sections would activate momentarily, displaying complex holographic information before returning to darkness. It felt like the installation was testing them, evaluating their capacity to understand. Kwon, the medical officer, discovered biological data that suggested the threatening entities could adapt rapidly. They weren't just physical creatures, but complex systems that could modify themselves based on encountered resistance. "They learn," she said, her voice filled with a mixture of scientific fascination and genuine fear. "Whatever these things are, they don't just attack. They study, they adapt, they evolve." As hours passed, more revelations emerged. The station had been waiting, not just for decades, but potentially for centuries. Its systems were designed to remain dormant until a civilization capable of comprehending the threat could be found. Humanity, with its rapid technological advancement and adaptive capabilities, seemed to be that civilization. The final decoded message was both a warning and a challenge. The entities would return. They were patient, they were calculating, and they were hungry. Commander J. Park looked at his team. They had discovered something that would change everything humanity understood about their place in the universe. "We're not just explorers anymore," he said quietly. "We're the first line of defense for something much larger than ourselves." The station continued to pulse around them, a silent guardian waiting to reveal its final secrets. The holographic display flickered with terrifying clarity. Commander J. Park watched as complex dimensional maps revealed the true nature of the approaching threat. These weren't simple alien invaders. They were systems that consumed entire realities. Kwon's medical scans showed something unprecedented. The interdimensional entities didn't just attack physical spaces. They absorbed technological and biological systems at a molecular level. They could convert entire populations into pure energy within moments. "They're not conquerors," she explained, her voice steady despite the horrifying data. "They're cosmic parasites that restructure entire dimensional ecosystems." The station's archives revealed a critical timeline. These entities moved in massive waves, consuming galaxies like a biological computer system consuming data. Their last recorded invasion had destroyed 17 advanced civilizations in less than a standard galactic cycle. Sung Choi discovered something even more alarming. Mathematical projections showed these entities would reach human-controlled space sectors within 47 years. The countdown had already begun. "We're not preparing for a war," Sung muttered. "We're preparing for potential extinction." Yoona Kim's engineering team worked frantically, attempting to understand the defensive technologies embedded within the station's systems. Each discovered mechanism was like solving an impossible puzzle, complex beyond human comprehension. Dai Shin's hands moved across interfaces, converting alien technological concepts into human-readable formats. The process was like translating an entire language that existed beyond traditional mathematical understanding. The station itself seemed to respond to their investigations. Certain sections would activate unexpectedly, displaying complex holographic information about dimensional invasion patterns. It felt like the installation was teaching them, preparing them. Commander Park understood the stakes. This wasn't just about human survival. It was about preventing a cosmic-level extinction event that could ripple across multiple dimensional spaces. Communication specialist Wan Li discovered something extraordinary. The entities communicated through energy patterns that resembled complex computational networks. They didn't think like biological creatures. They processed information like living algorithms. They adapt faster than any biological system we've ever encountered, Wan explained. Each encounter modifies their invasion strategy instantaneously. The station's defensive mechanisms were equally complex. Multiple energy containment systems suggested the previous civilization had developed technologies to temporarily halt the dimensional invasion. But they hadn't been successful, only delayed. Projected simulations showed massive energy signatures building around potential invasion points. These weren't simple spatial coordinates, but complex dimensional intersections where reality itself became fragile. "We're looking at potential breach points," Sung announced, pointing at swirling holographic representations, places where dimensional barriers become thin enough for them to penetrate. Commander Park realized they were no longer just explorers. They had become humanity's first line of defense against a threat that existed beyond traditional understanding of warfare or survival. The station continued pulsing, a silent guardian that had waited centuries for a civilization capable of comprehending its warnings. Humanity had been chosen. Whether they were ready remained to be seen. "Prepare full documentation," Jay ordered. "Every single detail must be recorded. We might be the only chance our species has." As if responding to his command, the station's systems stirred. Complex energy patterns danced across interfaces, showing potential defensive strategies that defied current human technological understanding. The threat was real. The countdown had begun, and humanity's greatest challenge was just emerging from the cosmic shadows. The United Earth Defense Council assembled an emergency session. Commander Japark presented their findings, his presentation filled with holographic representations of the dimensional threat that would challenge human existence. "We are not facing a traditional invasion," he explained. "We are confronting a system that consumes entire realities." Global leaders watched in stunned silence. The station's recovered technologies offered humanity its first real defensive strategy against an enemy beyond conventional understanding. Yoona Kim's engineering team had already begun developing hybrid technologies. By combining recovered alien systems with human computational methods, they created a revolutionary defensive network. Prototype energy shields could now detect dimensional stress points, locations where the entities might breach reality. Sung Choi's mathematical models predicted potential invasion corridors. These weren't simple spatial predictions, but complex dimensional intersections where reality itself became vulnerable. Each projection showed potential containment strategies. The station, now renamed Guardian Station, became humanity's primary research and defensive platform. Its ancient systems, restored and integrated with human technology, transformed into humanity's first line of interdimensional defense. Dai Xin developed communication protocols that could potentially disrupt the entity's energy absorption processes. His breakthrough suggested that these cosmic predators could be temporarily confused by specific energy harmonics. Ian Kwan's medical research revealed something extraordinary. Human genetic structures contained unique adaptive capabilities that made them potentially resistant to complete dimensional absorption. Where other civilizations had failed, humans showed unexpected resilience. "We are not just potential victims," she reported. "We might be the first species capable of actively resisting these entities." Global resources were redirected. Space exploration programs transformed into defensive research initiatives. Every scientific discipline focused on understanding and preparing for the dimensional threat. Wan Li's communication systems developed advanced early warning networks. Satellites and deep space monitoring stations were reconfigured to detect the slightest dimensional stress. The first test came sooner than expected. A small dimensional probe attempted to breach near Jupiter's orbital region. The hybrid defensive systems, developed from the station's technologies, successfully repelled the initial incursion. Humanity had its first victory. Commander Park understood this was just the beginning. The entities would adapt. They would learn. The conflict would become increasingly complex with each encounter. The station continued to reveal secrets. Hidden archives suggested that multiple civilizations had fallen, but each conflict provided more data, more understanding. Humanity was not just fighting. They were learning how to survive. Global unity emerged from the threat. National boundaries became less important compared to species survival. Every human resource was now dedicated to understanding and preparing for the dimensional invasion. "We are no longer just explorers," Commander Park told the Global Council. "We are the guardians of reality itself." The Guardian Station pulsed silently in deep space, a testament to hope, preparation, and humanity's unexpected potential to challenge cosmic threats. The countdown continued. The entities were approaching, and humanity was ready.